Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the game last night. Game 7s are, in my opinion, one of the biggest treats in all of sports. They show what athletes have to do to really push themselves to the limits and get out of hitting slumps, and anything that's holding them back, they just have to put the excuses aside and just get it done. One of my favorite things to watch in all of sports, any elimination game. So we're going to talk about the only game that was on last night, Dodgers and Braves. The Dodgers started Dustin May, and I believe he was supposed to come out after either a certain inning limit or pitch count, but he was good. But he did start off the game. I think that was the reason why he was pulled, was maybe because he walked the first two batters. So May versus Ian Anderson, and they said on the broadcast that the last time Ian Anderson of the Braves had a winner-take-all game, he was in high school. So, and I don't think that means he can't get the win or anything like that, but long time ago for him to have that. I don't know if that means that his minor league teams executed a lot of sweeps, or maybe they weren't in the playoffs a lot. So we'll start it off. Dustin May starts off, like I said, walks the first two batters, and Ozuna right away makes them pay, 1-0 Braves. So I'll just go over in my notes some of the more details, and then I'll get to the board in a second. But so Dansby Swanson came up clutch. He was pretty quiet last few games, but he makes it 2-0 Atlanta. So I feel like the theme of this series and even playoffs has just been blown leads. 3-1 series lead coming into this week for the Atlanta Braves, and a 2-0 lead early here from Swanson. So if you guys watch the game, you know how it pans out, but I'll act like I don't. So yeah, Swanson gets 2-0 there. Muncy gets a hit. Smith gets a hit for the Dodgers. Catcher Will Smith. I'm going to incorporate some of my baseball cards into this, just for some more visuals. 2-2. So, looking at the game so far, you already know early it's probably going to be a back and forth, or it has the potential to be. So, Austin Riley with the runner on third, who's been pretty quiet. He's had a couple over 4 appearances in the playoffs, but he did get the runner in from third, got a hit, 3-2 Braves. And so what we're going to go to now, first thing that I'm covering on the board, kind of condensing the board a bit, a lot to write, so that's why I'm referring to my notes. But a big reason, and I think a lot of people saw maybe a reason why the Braves couldn't capitalize today, was their ugly base running. So, looking back on that, I know a lot of people say, like, oh, that was a great play by the Dodgers picking them off. In a Game 7, you should never get picked off on the bases by your own fault. So, when someone gets picked off at third, it's usually someone missed a sign, someone didn't realize that the catcher picked up that maybe he wasn't paying attention and the runner was a little too far down the line. Whatever it was, it's inexcusable. And the part that's even more inexcusable is the runner getting out behind him and turning it into an unforced double play. So, no contact on the bat, no strikeout, anything, 2 outs right there on the base paths. That's something that they're going to look back on after blowing the series and thinking that was a crucial thing of a young team that they're going to have to fix. So the next thing was Mookie Betts. And simple as that, Mookie Betts. Show you a picture. That's all you got to know. The man, the machine himself, coming over in his first season from after playing his whole career with the Boston Red Sox. He has been everything and more the Dodgers could have asked for in their right field. He is, I think, looking back, if it's 20 years from now, you're going to look back and be really happy you saw Mookie Betts play. And I don't even think his best years are behind him. I think his best years lie in front of him. I'd love to see 162 games of him on a really pumped-up Dodgers team and see what he could do with the bat. If he could get another above 300 season again and keep doing what he does, he's going to win Gold Gloves for the rest of his career. And that's something that you can't teach as easy as hitting. Like, defense is something that, if they come up naturally with it, it's a coach's dream, right? And he played second base when he first came up, so second base and right field, and then the Red Sox decided to actually move him out to right. So he's a very versatile player, really coachable, and I'm sure that Dave Roberts, if he wins this World Series and he keeps his job, which I'm assuming losing it would be him not keeping it, they're going to want to build around Betts and Bellinger, and they have the money, and this Dodgers team can be, if they can find some success in the World Series, they have the potential to be one of the best teams of the decade. So, on to the next one. One of the funnest names to say, Kike Hernandez. He, again, sometimes doesn't hit for average, but when he connects, he hits bombs. And that's what he did there. 3-3, tied it up for the Dodgers. And when the Dodgers get their energy going and everything, they just feed off of it. And especially, whether you agree with it or not, that there's some fans in the stadium, that's real energy there. And now they're going to be able to really feed off it. Like, even just seeing some real people in the stands with Dodgers uniforms on, that's going to really help them with their, I think it's refreshing mentally, and it's going to help them just with their energy get pumped up for home runs instead of hearing, like, imported crowd noise. So, Ozzie Albies, he made a good play, threw home instead of to first, didn't concede the run, which is a good accurate throw, sometimes risky, but it's what you have to do, and it paid off for him. And so that kept the game tied at 3. So next up, we'll talk about Cody Bellinger. His ever since he came up in his rookie season, even though he was sometimes you still see him fooled on mostly off-speed, like change-ups and curveballs inside on his hands, but lower. If that's his only issue, that's a good problem to have. You can teach plate discipline. Even though a lot of players come up with it naturally, like Cavan Biggio has it really naturally, Bo Bichette, you'll take the swings and misses, and even though some games, you'll see him go over 5 and be like, God, what's wrong with Bellinger, right? I'm sure, but when he hits a home run like he did tonight, in the position that he hits tonight, anything you have negative just goes out the window. His power, it's such a unique swing, and it's so hard to, it almost looks like a slingshot, because it's just like, you see the ball, it's hanging, whether it was a fastball down the middle, which in this case it was, or it's like a hanging breaking ball in the zone that he recognizes he can hit, it's all going out hard. And you always see the outfielders mostly give up on it, because it's usually like 450, 460 plus feet. So Bellinger, it's really nice to see, because you forget that his rookie season was in 2017, and he's already going to his 3rd World Series. Just the contributions that he has, and his, just referring to the baseball card, him trying to read the plaque, but he won National League MVP in this picture here, so he's already got the accolades going, and if he can win a World Series and a World Series MVP here, he's in for an amazing career. Already is 50 home runs in his rookie season. That's more home runs than some players have in their entire career. So, Julio Urias came in, absolute stud out of the bullpen. He can start too, which is amazing. No chance when you see that left-hander coming in against some, even if they are right-handed batters, they usually don't have a chance, because he jams them inside their hands, and especially when they're left-handed batters, he just goes away and away, where he goes 97 at your face, or up to 99 right near your hands. He makes you take crappy swings at things. So, all said and done, LA Dodgers going to the World Series again. Again, 3rd time in 4 years. Their record during the regular season was 43-17, so you kind of extrapolate that over 162 games. They were definitely going to win the NL West again. I don't think the Padres were ever going to catch them. This was going to be a really good Dodgers team for the regular season, and it sucks that we didn't get a full season out of it, because I think this would have been a year that would have been some career years for the players that already have career years for them, so it would have been really cool to see. So yeah, National League champs again. They win the pennant, and they're going to face off against the Tampa Bay Rays. So, our World Series MVP, or pardon me, not World Series, not yet, don't get ahead of myself, NLCS MVP is Corey Seager. He was a beast for the Dodgers in this series. It seemed like every time you'd watch every other at-bat, he was getting a big hit, making big defensive plays. But he's frequently injured, but he hits like... You can argue that if he doesn't get injured again seriously in his career and continues on, he could have like a case for making the Hall of Fame. And it's just, he had Tommy John surgery, took him out for a long time, but it's about showing up in big spots. And the Dodgers, first team to come back from 3-1 in a series and win since the Cubs did it against the Indians in the 2016 World Series. So, like I said, it's all about your big players coming up. Like I'm looking here, even like Will Smith, their catcher, coming into his own. Jock Peterson, who they were going to trade to the Angels this year, he had some good moments in the series. Walker Buehler. All these players, they all contributed and are big reasons why the Dodgers are moving on. So, again, already decided out in the American League. So we're going to go on and talk about just a few things up here. First, we're just going to talk about some NHL news. I saw it this morning. So Doc Emmerich is retiring after 47 seasons of broadcasting. And I feel like he speaks through a couple generations, because I can't sit here and say I watched him my whole life or anything like that or remember all these moments, but there are moments I remember. I remember how he made every single game, no matter how it felt. It felt like a playoff game or a Game 7. And he was the commentator a lot for the New Jersey Devils specifically, and that's why a lot of the moments that you'll see are him calling big moments, overtime winners, whatever, for Devils games. So when they eventually put something together for him on TV, it's going to be a lot of Devils moments. But my favorite moment of all time, and I'm sure some of my friends, especially one of my best friends, him and I watched the playoffs together every year from when I first started religiously watching the playoffs. My favorite moment of Doc Emmerich was definitely Adam Henrique's overtime winner against New York Rangers that sent them to the final. Just the atmosphere alone of the Prudential Center in New Jersey, it was overtime winner going to the final, but then you have Doc Emmerich just piling on and just making it's you wonder if he has it pre-planned what he's gonna say if A team wins or B team wins, how he's gonna say it, how it changes from player to player. And I think that's almost like improv, because you're expecting that year, for example, when Devils went to the final, you're expecting Ilya Kovalchuk or something like that, some big name, but it was Adam Henrique, and it was a scramble play, and that is the best from Emmerich, the crazy, unsure moments when the puck's loose, and he's just yelling he's jamming away at it, and I know a lot of people don't really like commentators, but Doc Emmerich and Gary Thorne are two of the reasons why I fell in love with hockey highlights, and I would just watch them when I was young. I'm oh my god, and it felt like a story. It felt like they were when they were explaining their path to the Stanley Cup or their path through the playoffs, it felt like you were along with them on that journey, and it just... So, 47 years, that's absolutely crazy for a career for a broadcaster. Congratulations, all the best to him, and we'll see who the next big broadcaster that comes along is. So, good for him. So, a few pieces of NHL news. Tyson Jost of the Colorado Avalanche, their first-round pick back in 2017, he just signed a one-year extension, and probably prove yourself type of deal. He's a good, solid player. I'd say bottom six. He can play on the second line, and I think he can really fit in anywhere, but it's more is he going to produce offensively, or is he just kind of be along for the ride? But one-year extension there in Colorado doesn't hurt. Try to prove yourself, maybe get your little longer extension after that. Kind of similar to what Nazem Kadri did with the Leafs. So, Christian Fisher of the Arizona Coyotes has just signed a 2-year extension. Again, another first-round pick there, I believe from 2017, 2018, and he's been good for the Coyotes. But the Coyotes, they made everyone think that they were going to make the playoffs last year, and I know they made it to the play-on round, but that wouldn't have been playoffs if it was a regular year. They're kind of losing the direction right now just because I think all the drama that's going on with John Chayka quitting and everything. But their new general manager said that he expects them to be a cup contender pretty soon. So if that's the direction they're going to go, I hope they go all for it. So I wanted to start doing like I said, on this day in history. So I'm going to start off with one today because there was a lot to pick from, and I think I found the most interesting one. On this day in history, on October 19th, 1919, or 1920, pardon me. Pardon me, no, 1919, that makes sense. So, October 19th, 1919, the Montreal Canadiens were established as an official NHL franchise.